और भूखे मर जाओ।
DMK's A. Raja calls Ram Bhakts idiots.
அந்த ஜெய் ஸ்ரீராமனையும் பாரத மாதாவையும் ஒருபோதும் நாங்கள் ஏற்றுக்கொள்ள மாட்டோம். தமிழ்நாடு ஏற்றுக்கொள்ளாது. நீ சொல்ற ஜெய் ஸ்ரீராம் சி idiot.
TMC Neta calls Ram Mandir unholy.
আমি মনে করি অপবিত্র এই রাম মন্দিরেতে ভারতবর্ষের কোন হিন্দু
Shatrughan Sinha takes PR stunt jibe.
उसपे आप अपनी पब्लिसिटी के लिए इतना ड्रामा कर दिया आपने वहां पे.
Serial Ram strikes by the opposition. Top focus on 5 Live.
And you know it's election season when all the parties unite in some form or the other. Ram appears to be the flavor of the season. January 22nd was when the Pran Pratishtha happened in Ayodhya, but for some reason this Tuesday it's Ram, Ram, Ram. Thanks very much for being with me, Shiv, Aroor here on 5 Live. These are the headlines. Another Ram storm brews. DMK MP A. Raja stokes a row, brands Lord Ram disgusting from the north and Ram Bhakts as idiots. BJP lashes out, calls A. Raja's remarks hate speech. Prime Minister Modi reiterates Modi ka Parivar war cry, says Parivarvad parties only looting the country. Opposition bloc claims Adani the real family looting India. Karnataka, Pakistan Zindabad slogans probe intensifies. Home Minister of the state confirms that the slogans were indeed raised inside the Vidhan Sauda. Accused Shafi's undated images with Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar emerge now. City of Lakes, Bengaluru battles an acute water shortage. Residents send out an SOS as government takes over water tankers. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar also bear the water crunch brunt. India Today has mounted a campaign as Bengaluru runs dry. Setback for Mamata government. Calcutta High Court orders CBI probe into the Sandesh Khali violence, says hand over Shah Jahan Sheikh's custody. Trinamool government has moved the Supreme Court. Chi, idiots. Chi, idiots. These, viewer, were the elegant, flowery words used by former Union Minister, the famous A. Raja, to describe those who chant Jai Shri Ram and Ram Bhakts, particularly those from the north. The Chi idiots eruption was Raja's flourish at the end of an extended rant where he exploded forth on all his favorite topics, bashing the North, bashing the BJP, saying that India isn't a country really and that Tamil Nadu will secede from the nation if the BJP remains in power. Nothing out of the ordinary, just your usual DMK fare. But this was an event to honor Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin on his birthday, so obviously Raja needed to pull out all the stops. This particular video clip of Raja emerges a day after the Supreme Court rapped Raja's Chote Malik Udayanidhi Stalin for his violent, dangerous words on Sanatan Dharm could be merely a coincidence. But from Udayanidhi to Raja, the DMK isn't peddling this traditional Dravidian fare in a political vacuum. National elections are only weeks away. The DMK is part of a National India alliance where such vitriol not only runs the risk of undermining and embarrassing partners like notably the Congress party fighting elections in the northern states that are populated by these Chi idiots, but it also gives the BJP a steady supply of ammunition to keep the heat on the opposition. But merrily bashing the North's Ramayana as Chi, as opposed to the South's beautiful Kambana Ramayana, A. Raja feeds a traditional base in Tamil Nadu that's energized by this allergy to anything that can even vicariously be linked to Hindi imposition. The problem is, this base isn't pan-Indian. It's in Tamil Nadu. Udayanidhi Stalin received an angry rebuke from the Supreme Court for his words last year on Sanatan Dharma. But the damage of his words were plain to see. For instance, a C-voter survey in the wake of Stalin Jr.'s comments found that 43% of respondents said it would damage the opposition alliance's chances in the three Hindi heartland states of Rajasthan, MP and Chhattisgarh that went to the polls late last year. And given that the Congress was decimated in all three states, can anyone really say that Stalin Jr.'s intemperate and brazen words didn't have some kind of a political impact, that the DMK didn't politically damage its partner? Similarly now with A. Raja employing his signature irreverent style, pretending to hit out at the BJP, but actually striking out at people's faith. It's one thing to question the BJP's politics and Hindi imposition, all legitimate issues in my book. But when you say, "Chhi, idiots," to those who chant Jai Shri Ram, you've chosen to express contempt that disregards the crucial political linkages your party, the DMK, has with partners for whom such words are radioactive in their spheres of hopeful influence in the Hindi heartland and North India. Now, as a Dalit, A. Raja's explosion can always be explained away as there being a social context to his words. But A. Raja doesn't exist in an echo chamber or a vacuum, neither does Udayanidhi Stalin. If this is simply about protecting the fortress of Tamil Nadu from the marauding BJP, then the Congress must uneasily make peace with it. A sheepish Congress party couldn't object when Udayanidhi Stalin piped up about Sanatan Dharm being a virus and a disease last year. And they won't be able to say a word now, I guarantee you, about A. Raja's eruption against Jai Shri Ram. With the South versus North narrative actively drummed up since the last cycle of elections in the Gaumutra states, as one DMK MP had called them, it's time for the opposition to wonder if it can afford for its main constituents failing so spectacularly, practically on a daily basis, to at least temporarily put aside their core beliefs, especially controversial beliefs, that make such alliances so inherently contradictory and self-defeating and damaging. But who am I to judge? Chhi, I'm just an idiot. Thanks for listening. But remember, it isn't just A. Raja who has invoked the name of Ram to make a political point. It's the India bloc's netas in their entirety versus everything from Ram to the Ram Mandir in a political contest. They're not attacking Ram per se, they're making a political point. From the DMK to the Trinamool to even the grand old party, the Congress, several netas have launched a series of verbal attacks on the Prime Minister around the Ram Mandir and Ram. Take a look at how it's been playing out.
Ahead of Lok Sabha poll, India bloc netas are uniting to target Ram Mandir. On Tuesday, several opposition netas made serious strikes aimed at Ayodhya Ram Mandir. Rahul Gandhi slammed Prime Minister Narendra Modi, taking a Jai Shri Ram jibe.
जय श्री राम बोलो और भूखे मर जाओ.
இதுதான் ஜெய் ஸ்ரீராம் என்றால்.
DMK MP A. Raja triggered a fresh row just a day after the Supreme Court pulled up his leader, Udayanidhi Stalin, for his comments against Sanatan Dharm.
அந்த ஜெய் ஸ்ரீராமனையும் பாரத மாதாவையும் ஒருபோதும் நாங்கள் ஏற்றுக்கொள்ள மாட்டோம். தமிழ்நாடு ஏற்றுக்கொள்ளாது. என்ன ஜாதி, எந்த மதம், எங்க பிறந்தான்? எனக்கு ராமாயணத்தில் நம்பிக்கை இல்ல, ராமன் மீது நம்பிக்கை இல்ல. ஆனால் கதையை சொல்றேன், இதுதான் கம்பராமாயணம். குகனோடு ஐவரானோம், குன்று சொல்வான் மகனோடு அறுவரானோம், ஐயா நின்னோடு எழுவரானோம். 7 பேர் ராமன் நம்பினான். இன்னொரு குரங்கை 6வது சோதரராக ஏற்றுக்கொண்ட ராமாயணத்துக்கு பேர் தான் மனித நல்லிணக்கம் என்று சொன்னால் நீ சொல்ற ஜெய் ஸ்ரீராம் சி இடியட்.
The BJP slammed Raja, terming him a serial offender.
It is evident that insulting India's ethos, publicly humiliating Hindu gods, and questioning the very idea of India has become the hallmark of the political agenda of the India Gadbandhan.
The TMC in Bengal also targeted Modi's Pran Pratishtha at Ram Temple. Party MLA Ramendu Sinha Roy called Ram Mandir an unholy site, which must be boycotted by Hindus.
নীল ওই যে রাম মন্দির তৈরি হয়েছে, আমি মনে করি অপবিত্র এই রাম মন্দিরেতে ভারতবর্ষের কোন হিন্দু যেন পূজা দিতে না যায়। ওটা একটা শোপিস তৈরি হয়েছে, ওটা শুধু একটা শোপিস তৈরি হয়েছে।
Another TMC leader, Shatrughan Sinha, described Ram Mandir opening as a mere publicity stunt of BJP.
पहले दिन 5 लाख लोग पहुंचे वहां पे अपने प्रचार के बाद, और अभी तो 1000 2000 लोग जा रहे हैं वहां पे, क्योंकि शंकराचार्य जहां नहीं पहुंचे, मंदिर पूरा नहीं है, उस पे आप अपनी पब्लिसिटी के लिए इतना ड्रामा कर दिया आपने वहां पे।
On Monday, the Prime Minister had warned the opposition against hurting religious sentiments of crores of Indians.
करोड़ों लोगों की आस्था का घोर अपमान करना भी परिवारवादियों की एक निशानी है, पहचान है, आदत है।
India bloc leaders have given more ammo to the BJP in the lead up to the 2024 battle, and the saffron camp is making full use of it. India Today.
There's egg on the face of an entire ecosystem of fact-checkers, journalists, civil society and experts on social media and off it who had instinctively jumped viewer to label videos of Pakistan Zindabad allegedly being chanted during celebrations in the Vidhan Sauda after the Rajya Sabha results as fake and misinformation. Well, those same people are completely silent today because the forensic report on that particular video has proven that those slogans were indeed chanted. The Home Minister has admitted that they were indeed chanted. The police has arrested 3 people in connection with this entire case, and an investigation is moving forward. If you ask me personally, viewer, I think this is basically per se a very puerile issue. It's a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of police time. It's a waste of court time. It's a waste of national energy. So what if someone chanted Pakistan Zindabad? But the point here is not that. The point is that 3 people, or at least 3 people, meant to try and trigger either violence or some kind of a disruption. Nobody knows what their motive was, and an entire ecosystem tried to spread misinformation that this was entirely fake. This dangerous ecosystem stands completely exposed today, viewer, because this is the same ecosystem that lectures the country virtually on a daily basis about issues like fake news and misinformation. The same people who instinctively, within minutes of these allegations of Pakistan Zindabad, slogans being chanted, said, this is misinformation, this is fake. They're silent, they've got egg on their faces today. Watch where the investigation currently stands.
The Karnataka government has now confirmed what India Today reported first, that Pakistan slogans were indeed shouted in Vidhan Sauda in Bengaluru.
Twice that individual, whoever has shouted, he has shouted twice. So that has been confirmed. So based on that, FSL has not said who has said that. Based on that, we have identified 3 persons who are very close, and looking at the lip movement and so on, the police has confirmed that and arrested 3 people.
The political war of words is only escalating, with the BJP demanding that the Congress be tried for treason and investigated under the anti-terror law, UAPA.
BJP workers also have shouted pro-Pakistan. It is on record. BJP tried to close the case, but now those local workers are telling you have to investigate that matter, and the police will look into it. The law of this land will take its action.
ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಪ್ರಜೆ ಕೂಗಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ದೇಶದ್ರೋಹದ ಕೆಲಸವೇ. ಒಬ್ಬ ರಾಜ್ಯಸಭಾ MP MLA ಯಾರೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಗಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ದೇಶದ್ರೋಹಿ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆನೇ. ಅವನು ಹಿಂದೂ, ಅವನು ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನ, ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಉದ್ಭವ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಗಂಭೀರವಾಗಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಮಗಂತೂ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
The three accused, Iltiaz, Munawar and Mohammad Shafi, have now been sent to 2-day custody. But images of them with top Congress leaders from Rahul Gandhi to the Karnataka Chief Minister and his deputy have added to Congress's embarrassment.
कांग्रेस का हाथ देश विरोधी ताकतों के साथ एक बार फिर नजर आया। आखिरकार नासिर हुसैन के जीतने पर ये किन लोग थे जो विधानसभा में आए थे? क्या वो विधायकों के परमिशन लेकर वहां नहीं आए थे और कांग्रेस के विधायकों ने बुलाया था? इससे पहले टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग का साथ दिया और हमने तब भी कहा था कि देश के कितने टुकड़े करवाना चाहते हो। अब वो टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग के लोगों को कांग्रेस पार्टी में शामिल कर दिया।
Chorus is growing for the resignation of Nasir Hussain, who was elected as Rajya Sabha MP, for whom the Pakistan slogans were allegedly raised.
ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಾಸಿರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರ ರಾಜ್ಯಸಭಾ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ವೇಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಗೆಲುವು ಸಾಧಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಜೈಕಾರ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. ನಾಸಿರ್ ಹುಸೇನ್ ಜಿಂದಾಬಾದ್, ನಾಸಿರ್ ಹುಸೇನ್ ಜೈವಾಗ್ಲಿ, ನಾಸಿರ್ ಖಾನ್ ಜಿಂದಾಬಾದ್, ನಾಸಿರ್ ಸಾರ್ ಜಿಂದಾಬಾದ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಜೈಕಾರ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಜೈಕಾರ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
With the arrest of 3 accused and the FSL report, the Congress government in Karnataka finds itself on the back foot. With Sagai Raj and Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
And news just coming in amidst the Congress's pro-Pakistan chants controversy in Karnataka. BJP President JP Nadda has launched a political attack on the Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka, saying it's a free run for terror in Karnataka. Is the Congress speaking Pakistan's language? Nadda has questioned Mallikarjun Kharge, who happens to be from Karnataka, and Rahul Gandhi's silence on the issue of the Pakistan Zindabad slogans chanted in the Vidhan Sauda. Listen.
विधानसभा में नारा लगता है पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद। कांग्रेस के मुख्यमंत्री मूक दर्शक होते हैं, कांग्रेस के उप मुख्यमंत्री मूक दर्शक होते हैं, चुप्पी साधते हैं। यही कर्नाटक है ना, जहां से राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस का खड़गे साहब है। उनके बगल में बैठने वाला वो सांसद होगा ना जिसके जीतने पर पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद के नारे लगते हैं। यही कुछ समय पहले भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में राहुल जी आए थे। यही आप राहुल जी भारत को जोड़ रहे हैं ना, जब आपका सांसद जीतता है और जीतने के बाद पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद के नारे लगते हैं। आप किसका प्रतिनिधित्व कर रहे हो? खड़गे जी, आप चुप क्यों हो? देश जानना चाहता है। कर्नाटक की जनता पूछ रही है कि पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद का नारा विधान सौदा के अंदर हो, किसी एक एमपी के जीतने पर हो और वो एमपी कांग्रेस पार्टी का हो। मुख्यमंत्री चुप, उप मुख्यमंत्री चुप, आपके राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष चुप, राहुल गांधी जी चुप। क्या आप पाकिस्तान की मदद करने के लिए पैदा हुए हैं? क्या आप पाकिस्तान की भाषा बोलने के लिए पार्टी चला रहे हैं? क्या आप पाकिस्तान के नुमाइंदे हैं भारत में? मैं जानना चाहता हूं, मुझे इसका उत्तर चाहिए।
I want to go across to India Today is Anaga Keshav joining us live from Bengaluru on this extended story. Anaga, 3 people arrested, a lot of political heat over the Siddaramaiah government and its initial impulse to, call this entire story fake and a BJP conspiracy. Where is the investigation right now and what kind of trouble are these 3 men in, the people who've been arrested for chanting Pakistan Zindabad?
Well, Shiv, the court has given 2-day custody for the accused, and tomorrow evening is when the accused will be produced in front of the court. But as of now, they have not yet confessed to it. They are still saying that it was not them who shouted Pakistan Zindabad slogan. They've still not agreed to it. But, as the Home Minister says, the police of Bangalore have been given free hand, is what Parameshwar is saying. And the police are doing their due course of investigation. Tomorrow is when we'll know precisely if indeed, if it was them who really chanted the Pakistan Zindabad slogan.
Okay, Anaga, thanks very much for joining us with that input. And I also wanted to tell our viewers that the story gets even more absurd. The police in Karnataka have apparently also arrested a BJP worker from Mandya for a 2022 case in which he had chanted Pakistan Zindabad during a BJP protest against the Pakistani foreign minister, where Pakistan Murdabad and Hindustan Zindabad slogans were being chanted, but apparently someone chanted Pakistan Zindabad there as well. And so a BJP worker has apparently also been either detained or arrested in Mandya. Just wanted to put that into the mix because it's related to what we're talking about right now. We're taking a very quick break here. On the other side, remember those images of Prime Minister Modi in Lakshadweep just a couple of weeks ago? Well, here's India putting its money where its mouth is. A brand new naval base is coming up on the southernmost tip of the Lakshadweep Islands. It's called Minikoi, and it's much closer to Maldives than any other part of India. We'll tell you why it's so important. That's next.
After forensic report confirmed that pro-Pakistan slogans were raised in the Karnataka Assembly, Bengaluru police has cracked down the suspects. The police have arrested 3 accused from 3 different locations. Accused number 1, Mohammad Shafi, was arrested from Haveri district in Karnataka. Accused number 2, Munawwar, was arrested from Bengaluru. And third accused, Iltiaz, was arrested from Delhi. The police claimed that the arrests were made based on forensic reports, circumstantial evidence and statement of witnesses. One of the accused, Mohammad Shafi, was also seen with newly elected Rajya Sabha MP Nasir Hussain, and an image of the two has also emerged. Accused Shafi claims that he was raising Nasir Sahab Zindabad slogans. The Karnataka BJP has sought MP Nasir Hussain's resignation immediately and wants the Congress to be probed under UAPA. Bureau Report, India Today.
Has been arrested in pro-Pak slogans. What do you like to say on this?
Yeah, we demanded for the arrest, but the Congress ruling government has delayed 6 days. They are all Congress workers. The Nazir, the Rajya Sabha member, his followers, they are Congress people. They given a slogan of Pakistan Zindabad. That's why I already went to respected governor to dismiss this government.
Okay. Next, what will be your demand against the Nasir Hussain?
Yeah, one more bomb blast also happening in Bangalore. So Karnataka becoming the sleeper cell of terrorists. So whenever Congress in Karnataka, this terrorist activities becoming more and more. That's why we are demanding this government have to go. That's why we went to governor for the dismissal of this government.
Will you demand resignations of Nasir Hussain?
Yeah, 100%, no doubt at all. He is accused. In this list, you have to add his name also, Nasir.
Okay, will you demand for disqualification?
Yes, 100%. For the disqualification, we will demand. BJP will demand.
ये सब वो लोग हैं जो हिंदी को गाली निकालते हैं, हिंदुस्तान को ख़त्म करने की बात करते हैं, टुकड़ों टुकड़ों में देखते हैं, टुकड़ों टुकड़े गैंग का समर्थन करते हैं। ये वो लोग हैं जो अपने राज्यसभा के सांसद जीतने के बाद पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद के नारे लगाते हैं। ये वो लोग हैं जो भारतीय संस्कृति को कुचलने की बात करते हैं। बनाते तो इंडी गठबंधन है, लेकिन इनका घमंड अहंकार बाहर निकलकर आता है। आखिर ऐसी कौन सी मजबूरी थी कि इनको पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद के नारे लगाने पड़े, टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग का समर्थन करना पड़ा, और वो भी एक नहीं अनेक बार। इस तरह की बात और उत्तर और दक्षिण को अलग अलग करके देखना, अलग अलग टुकड़ों में देखना भारत को, ये सोच इन्हीं की हो सकती है। हम तो भारत को एक सशक्त देश बनाने की दिशा में और विकसित भारत बनाने की कल्पना करते हैं।
लेकिन अब राहुल गांधी, खड़गे साहब, जब उनके गठबंधन के इतने बड़े नेता भारत माता
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
No headway in the Bengaluru blast probe days after the attack on a popular cafe. The country's ace anti-terror agency NIA has taken over the probe from the Bengaluru Central Crime Branch.
ಯಾರೇ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಮೂಲ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು? ಅದನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು. ಯಾರು ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಯಾರು ಅವ್ರ ಹಿಂದೆ ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳಿದ್ದಾವ ಅಥವಾ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರಾ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
In the latest CCTV images accessed by India Today, the suspected bomber is seen walking into the cafe at 11:34 a.m. on March 1st. He's seen walking away 9 minutes later at 11:43 a.m. after allegedly planting the explosive. The blast had taken place soon after 12:54 p.m. The suspect, who was wearing a cap, mask and glasses, was also seen on CCTV images while getting down from a bus. Probe agencies suspect links of the cafe blast to explosions in Shivamoga, the Mangaluru cooker blast in 2022, and even the 2008 Bengaluru serial blasts. The timer, internal relay circuit, bolts and wires used in the cafe attack resemble those used in earlier blasts. Jailed accused in both Mangaluru and the Bengaluru serial blast cases have been interrogated to nab the suspect. The Bengaluru cops also took the help of AI to identify the accused. Police also seized CCTV images from shops near the targeted Rameshwaram Cafe in IT hub Whitefield. Can NIA ensure the perpetrators are nabbed at the earliest? With Sagar Raj and Arvind Oja in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
पटना की रैली में इंडी गठबंधन के सभी नेताओं की उपस्थिति में प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के ऊपर एक बार पुनः इस स्तर का, इस निचले और छिछले स्तर का शब्द प्रयोग किया गया है श्री लालू प्रसाद यादव जी के द्वारा, जो दुखद है और कष्टकारक है। उन्होंने मोदी जी के परिवार के विषय में यह बात कही, तो मैं याद दिला देना चाहता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के लिए परिवार पूरा देश है। और यह बात आज की नहीं है बहनों भाइयों, हम सब लोग अपने परिवार के साथ होली दिवाली मनाते हैं। प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद 2014 की पहली दीपावली प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहां मनाई थी? सीमा पर सैनिकों के साथ। यह उनका परिवार था। और उससे लेके आज तक जितनी दीपावली पड़ी है, किसी न किसी सीमा की चौकी पर सुरक्षा बलों के साथ दीपावली मनाई है। यह है उनका परिवार। 15 अगस्त 2023 को, अभी पिछले 15 अगस्त को, लाल किले की प्राचीर से उन्होंने जो संबोधन किया, उन्होंने क्या कहा था? मेरे परिवारजनों। यह है मोदी जी का परिवार। और यह भाव सिर्फ 2014 से नहीं है। अपनी तरुणाई की अवस्था में जब उन्होंने समाज के लिए और राष्ट्र को परम वैभव तक ले जाने के संकल्प के साथ अपने परिवार को छोड़ा था, तो उसी क्षण उन्होंने यह संकल्प ले लिया था कि अब ये पूरा देश मेरा परिवार है और इसीलिए परिवार के काम में किसी को
Amid Maldives' shift towards China, India to boost security in Lakshadweep. INS Jatayu set to be commissioned at Minicoy Island. New naval base in Minicoy Island. Rafale set to roar in Western Indian Ocean region. India flaunts its maritime prowess. Top focus on 5 Live.
The Maldives became a huge talking point this year after the elections installed a government there that was closer to China and not very friendly with India. That animosity and hostility came very violently to a head after Prime Minister Modi visited not the Maldives but Lakshadweep a few days ago. You remember that visit when the Prime Minister walked on the beautiful beaches of Lakshadweep, triggering an entire conversation about these islands and how ignored they really have been in the Indian conscience. You also remember how the Prime Minister's viral images in the Lakshadweep triggered a very, very ugly reaction from certain Maldivian ministers, precipitating a huge diplomatic standoff between India and the Maldives. Well, today, Maldives and China have signed a couple of very important strategic military agreements that actually worsens the distance now between India and Maldives. Maldives has tried to mend the situation, but the truth of the matter is China has been looking to utilize Maldives as a big base in the Indian Ocean, and that's the reason why India and Maldives have drifted apart. Well, India is not sitting on its hands. India has the Lakshadweep Islands, the islands that were put even more clearly on the map than ever before, perhaps, by the viral images of the Prime Minister, are now going to be the site of a brand new Indian naval base called INS Jatayu on an island called Minicoy, which is on the southernmost tip of the Lakshadweep Islands. The Lakshadweep, remember, is an archipelago consisting of several different islands, but it is the Minicoy Island, a tiny island, which is far south of the other cluster of the Lakshadweep Islands. That's what it looks like. It's a long island which is capable of hosting a brand new naval base called INS Jatayu, which will be commissioned by the Indian Navy Chief tomorrow at Minicoy, and we'll be there as well to report on it. Not just a naval base, an airstrip will also be coming up on this particular island, facilitating fighter and other military aviation operations. The reason why Minicoy Island is so important, and I'll show you with this distance, is that unlike the rest of the Lakshadweep Islands, the Minicoy Island is much further south, giving India much closer proximity to the Maldives, where the Chinese now want to set up their military strength. They've signed these deals. It's a lot of muscle flexing taking place in the Indian Ocean. Maldives is one of their big bases where they want to create that presence and try and offset the Indian Navy's domination of this particular space. But India has now hit back. I'm simplifying it, but the Lakshadweep will be the beginning of India's counter to China in this very, very rapid game of chess, strategic chess in the Indian Ocean. To understand things a little bit better, we could find no better expert than Commodore Jai Singh. He is not only a submariner, but someone who is the Vice President of the India Maritime Foundation, and also someone who understands strategic flexing in the Indian Ocean, perhaps better than most people, because he is a submariner, and the submarine element to what's going on is extremely important. Before I come to Commodore Jai Singh, however, I wanted to just play out for our viewers and to remind them of what India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, said just a couple of days ago, criticizing the Maldives for seeking Chinese military aid.
When you say India is perceived as a big bully, you know, big bullies don't provide $4.5 billion when the neighbors are in trouble. Big bullies don't supply vaccines to other countries when COVID is on, or make exceptions to their own rules to respond to food demands or fuel demands or fertilizer demands because some war in some other part of the world has complicated their lives.
So the Maldives has, firmed up its grip as its partnership with China goes to the next level. New military deals have been signed between Maldives and China. Maldives pushing India by virtue of these agreements a little further away. A former ally is now in some ways a kind of adversary, but that's the way politics works. But how has India responded? With, for starters, because nothing is ever so simple, a new naval base in Minicoy, which is just a few hundred kilometers away from the northern tip of Maldives. So basically, very, very close to Maldives, where China wants to exert control and flex muscle. Commodore Jai Singh, bringing you onto the show, first of all, thank you for your time and for your wisdom on this, complex and evolving issue, which you've looked at for a very long time in service and also in your present role with the Indian Maritime Foundation. How do you see the deals that the Maldives has now signed with China? That was, perhaps expected. It was in the offing. But more interestingly, INS Jatayu, which is going to be commissioned tomorrow in the southernmost island of the Lakshadweep, sir.
Thank you for inviting me on your show. Yes, this has been an interesting development. The one constant in the Indo-Pacific, which I've always believed, is the constant geopolitical churn that keeps taking place here. That's a very fast-moving dynamic, as you mentioned.
Yes.
And I think the elections in Maldives were quite a trigger for what is now going to play out, perhaps in the next few years, as the great game shifts from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean. But coming to your specific questions, yes, INS Jatayu is a great asset. It's not that India or the Indian Navy had not recognized the strategic importance of these islands all these years. We always understood the strategic importance of both the Andaman and Nicobar Islands on our eastern seaboard and the Lakshadweep group of islands on our western seaboard. And we had a token presence there.
Yes.
Because we didn't think that it required anything more than that in the prevailing security scenario in the Indian Ocean at that point of time. But I suppose as one moves on and the situation develops, we have to keep adapting ourselves to that. And I think Jatayu will be a great force multiplier. It sends a strong message, even though initially perhaps we may not raise force levels very drastically over there. But the fact that a small little naval detachment is now being a commissioned naval base sends a message. And I think that message was important to send from many perspectives, Maldives being just one of them, or the Chinese presence in the Maldives being one of them. As far as China was concerned, obviously the very fact that they were wooing Maldives and they were trying to create a political situation where India was going to be, sort of on the back foot, was very evident.
Yes.
This is not the first time it's happened in the Maldives. It had happened earlier also. And as far as China is concerned, they do nothing without strings attached. So Maldives also knew exactly what they were getting into. And I'm surprised that President Muizu, who already owes, I think, 1/3 of his GDP to China and is seeking a bailout from the International Monetary Fund, still has walked into this whole engagement with China with his eyes open and taking his country almost to the point of getting into a debt trap. Sri Lanka is a classic example right next door. But anyway, be that as it may, I think the Chinese military presence is inevitable in the Indian Ocean. And the closer they can get to India, the more it serves their purpose.
Yes.
Look, from a Chinese perspective, if you look at it, they feel a vulnerability in the Indian Ocean from India. Because India straddles most of the important sea lanes of communication that through which Chinese trade and energy plies.
Yes.
And that, if you remember, is called the Malacca Dilemma by China, that India can choke Chinese trade at the Malacca Straits.
Yes.
We are sitting astride the 9-degree channel, which is the main sort of shipping artery going to going east of Malacca into the Pacific countries. And I think from that perspective, China can always justify their actions, saying that we need to secure our own sea lanes of communication, so we are going to have a presence in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
And, seeing the speed at which they are expanding the Navy, they're going to have a formidable presence in the Indian Ocean in maybe a few years from now, perhaps by the end of this decade.
Apart...
both perspectives. Sorry.
Commodore Jai Singh, apologize for interrupting, but apart from INS Jatayu, and like you said, INS Jatayu is not specifically just about the Chinese or about Maldives, it's about the Indian Ocean in general. But in your view and your assessment, is the Indian Navy prepared enough, upgrading and, expanding fast enough to meet the challenges of this rapidly expanding Chinese Navy and its presence in the Indian Ocean, sir?
Yes, I think so. You see, we seem to always, Navy or force level comparisons are not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean if they have 400 ships, we have 400 ships. It's about, in your area of interest, what can they pit against you and are you prepared for that? Now, India has always had a favorable maritime position in the Indian Ocean. We've rarely been challenged. We are the most powerful Navy in the region.
Right.
The PLA Navy, despite its rapid expansion, it is at the moment numerically the largest Navy in the world with more than 350 ships, still lacks, and I would like to emphasize it still lacks the confidence to operate as a blue water Navy and project power in what they call their far abroad. They have 2 aircraft carriers at the moment. Neither of the 2 aircraft carriers has ever ventured beyond the second island chain.
Yeah.
Similarly, at any given time, we have a Chinese naval presence in the Indian Ocean. They come here to protect their ships against piracy and other sort of non-traditional threats. That's fair enough. In the open oceans, any Navy can operate. And I also believe it is not a coincidence that, despite this tense standoff on the border for more than 3.5 years now, the 2 navies have never had any occasion to sort of encounter each other at sea. The Chinese Navy has kept well clear of the Indian Navy in the Indian Ocean over the last 3.5 years because they understand the limitations. They know they have limitations. However, that is not for us to become complacent about.
Yes.
Because the Chinese Navy, at the rate at which they're expanding, will be a 450-ship Navy by 2030, with 1/3 of their surface forces and submarines being blue water capable. 4 aircraft carriers.
Yes.
So we can definitely expect a carrier battle group presence in the Indian Ocean sooner rather than later. Is India ready for that? Yes, I think we are. And again, like I said, it is not about ship versus ship or submarine versus submarine. It's about what capability can we project in the Indian Ocean to check the Chinese presence.
What about submarines, Commodore Jai Singh? You're a submariner yourself, and this has been a specific sort of concern and worry as far as force levels are concerned. The increasing aggression with which China has upped its own submarine force levels. Chinese submarines have ventured, on occasion into the Indian Ocean, including their nuclear fleet. How is India prepared for that? I'm guessing that Maldives and other such, strategic points in the Indian Ocean will play a presence. There have been hydrographic surveys being conducted by the Chinese quite aggressively to aid submarining in the Indian Ocean. How does all of this sort of play out as far as India is concerned, as a concern?
Yes, I think a future Chinese submarine presence in the Indian Ocean is a matter of concern.
Yeah.
They're building up their SSN. SSNs are these nuclear-powered conventional attack submarines. They're conventionally armed, but they're nuclear-powered. So all the limitations that smaller diesel-electric submarines have in terms of range and endurance and high speed, is neutralized by the nuclear propulsion that the SSN has, or the attack submarine has. And China is focusing a lot on that. In fact, as per estimates, by the end of this decade, China would perhaps have 20 or more SSNs in the inventory, which would mean that at any given time, I would not be surprised if a couple of SSNs do venture into the Indian Ocean and are permanently deployed here at some point, somewhere or the other Indian Ocean. Now, when you have that kind of a submarine presence, it definitely constrains the surface ship commander's ability to maneuver or his unchallenged sort of presence on the sea, because he doesn't know when he's being tracked and when is he being detected by a submarine. So that's something we need to be concerned about. How do we counter that? We have to ensure that our anti-submarine capability, whether it is from the air, whether it is on the surface, or whether it is from below the surface of the sea, is robust. We have one big advantage. For Chinese submarines to come into the Indian Ocean, they have to come through one of three straits. Of those three straits, they have to come surfaced through two straits, because there just isn't enough water for them to make an approach, to make a dived approach. So they have to come on surface. Therefore, the moment they enter the Indian Ocean, they can be detected and tracked. Of course, they will dive after that and they'll disappear somewhere in the bottom of the sea. But the fact of the matter is that at least you have an initial position of where they were. And from there, you can do some sort of, extrapolation and figure out where they were probably headed. So that is one part of it. That is an advantage we have. There's only one strait called the Ambar Vatai from where they can make a dive transit. The problem with that is so far south that the distance the submarine has to traverse from the Chinese mainland to the Indian mainland is considerable. I mean, Colombo is, I think, about 8,000 miles away. Chennai is almost 9,000 miles away. So that's a huge distance the submarine has to transit, which practically makes it almost, I wouldn't say impossible, but makes it very difficult to deploy conventional submarines.
Right.
So we can be reasonably sure that what they will send to the Indian Ocean will be primarily nuclear submarines. However, and here I would like to again add, they are giving Pakistan 8 AIP-equipped conventional submarines.
Exactly, yes.
In the next 6 or 7 years. Now, for a country of Pakistan's size and of Pakistan's coastline, she already has 3 French AIP-equipped submarines, 8 more, 11 submarines will be a very formidable submarine capability that Pakistan Navy will have. So in my personal opinion, I think this will be used by China to sort of contain India in the Indian Ocean or in the Arabian Sea by the presence of the Pakistani submarines. If push comes to shove, or we play this huge, great game is played out in the Indian Ocean. Because it's very important, if China has to assert itself in the Indian Ocean, it has to contain the Indian Navy in one way or another.
Yes.
As far as Indian capability goes, I think we're doing well. We have a pretty robust, long-range maritime patrol ASW capability with the P8Is. Now we're getting the Predator drones. We are focusing a lot on unmanned underwater technologies.
Yes.
So we should be able to have a good surveillance capability along the, let's say, the Eastern Indian Ocean to monitor and track Chinese submarines coming in. Plus, of course, our surface forces are being sort of augmented with very good, very contemporary ASW equipment now. Most of the new ships are coming with towed array sonars, very powerful hull-mounted sonars, etc. So I think the new Sikorsky MH-60R helicopters coming in, this was a weak link, because our Seekings had become old.
That's right.
So these 24 helicopters coming in will greatly enhance the fleet's integral ASW capability, the anti-submarine warfare capability. As the fleet moves, the helicopters patrol ahead, and they can detect the submarine. Then they direct the ships on to come and attack that submarine. And a submarine, for all its advantages, can get cornered very badly if there is a lot of surface forces concentrated over there. So I think we are on the right track. Obviously, we can't match the Chinese economically. Their defense budget is 5 or 6 times ours. We have a lot of other competing and conflicting sort of requirements.
Right.
But I think given our limitations and given the sort of planning, the Navy has always planned well ahead. That's one advantage the Navy has. And so I think we're doing well as far as our ability to counter a Chinese presence in the future is concerned. We can always do better. So there's no end to it.
We can do better, but we're on the right track. I'll leave it on that positive note. Thank you very much for your expert words and wisdom and putting this complex story into perspective for us. Tomorrow is when INS Jatayu will be commissioned, and like Commodore Jai Singh said when he referred to the MH-60 Romeo anti-submarine warfare helicopters, that squadron will also be commissioned tomorrow in Kochi in Kerala. So a big day for the Indian Navy. All eyes will be on both these events, and we'll, of course, be tracking them live. Commodore Anil Jai Singh, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on India Today. We're taking a very quick break here on the news. 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita is up next. Prime Minister Modi intensifies his Modi Ka Parivar war cry And there's a very specific reason why it's extended into day 2. Akshita will tell you on the other side.
इनके परिवारवाद पर सवाल उठाता हूं तो इन लोगों ने बोलना शुरू कर दिया है कि मोदी का कोई परिवार नहीं है। अब तो कल ये कह देंगे कि तुम कभी जेल में तुझे सजा नहीं हुई इसलिए तुम राजनीति में नहीं आ सकते, ये भी कह देंगे। मेरा जीवन खुली किताब जैसा है और जब मैंने अपना घर छोड़ा एक सपना लेकर के चला था, देशवासियों के लिए जीऊंगा, मेरा पल पल सिर्फ और सिर्फ आपके लिए होंगे।
2-3 साल कमा के पढ़ाई करोगे और फिर आप एग्जाम में जाओगे, पेपर आपके सामने होगा, पेन आपके हाथ में होगा और आपको उससे तकरीबन 1 घंटा पहले अपने मोबाइल फोन पे कोई अमीर स्टूडेंट आपको पेपर दिखा देगा, ये तूने पूरी पढ़ाई की, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, मैंने तो पेपर खरीद लिया। कहानी वहां रुकती, फिर आप कहोगे यार मेरी जिंदगी बर्बाद कर दी। फिर आपसे कहेंगे देखो भैया अब रोजगार छोड़ो, आपका पेपर लीक हो गया, सारा मामला ठप हो गया।
मोदी आपसे और आपके परिवार को दी गई गारंटी को पूरा करने में लगा है, तो कांग्रेस और उसके साथी मोदी को, मोदी के परिवार को